The metal door slammed shut behind Samantha Reeves, and the sound echoed down the long corridor of Block C. She stood in her new cell, holding her meager government-issued belongings: 2 sets of orange uniforms, a towel, soap, and a toothbrush. The room was tiny, barely 3 by 4 meters, with 2 narrow bunks, a small table, and a toilet without a seat in the corner. "Welcome to the Harrison Hotel," said the woman lying on the lower bunk. She was thin, with short dark hair and alert brown eyes. Her hands, folded across her chest, were covered in tattoos, not prison ink, but professional work she had obviously done before her arrest. "I'm Sam," the newcomer introduced herself, placing her belongings on the top bunk. "Samantha Reeves. Priscilla Clark. Everyone calls me Pris." She sat down on the bunk, studying her neighbor closely. "How long did they give you?" 5 years. Trafficking." Sam sat down on the edge of her bunk, her legs dangling. "And you?" 8 for burglary. This is my 3rd year here." Priscilla stood up and walked over to the small mirror above the sink, fixing her hair. "Is this your first time here?" "Yes." Sam watched her new cellmate move around the tiny space with the ease of someone who had been there for a long time. "What do I need to know?" Pris turned to her, and Sam noticed that she had beautiful eyes, despite her wariness. "Rule number 1, don't trust anyone. Rule number 2, find a group, or they'll eat you alive. Rule number 3, don't get involved in other people's business, unless you want them to get involved in yours." She sat down on a chair at the table, facing Sam. "You're pretty. That could be a problem." "What do you mean? There are women here who haven't seen a man in years. They might try to make you their plaything." Pris spoke in a flat tone, without emotion. "But if you stay with me, they'll leave you alone. I have respect here." Sam nodded, feeling grateful. "Thank you. I didn't know that." "What didn't you know? That women can be just as dangerous as men?" Pris smirked. "Things are different here. Did you have a normal life on the outside?" "I worked in an electronics store. I sold weed to make extra money." Sam shrugged. "I got caught when I sold drugs to an undercover cop." "That was stupid." "Yeah, I know." Sam looked at Pris's hands. "What did you do?" "I was a mechanic. I worked at my uncle's auto shop." Pris followed Sam's gaze. "I got these tattoos when I was free. You can't get them done in here." "They're beautiful." Pris looked at her hands as if she were seeing them for the first time. "Thank you." A bell rang in the hallway and Pris stood up. "It's lunchtime. Come on, I'll show you the dining hall." They left the cell and joined the stream of prisoners heading for the dining hall. Sam walked beside Pris, feeling the stares of the other women. Some looked at her with curiosity, others with open hostility. The dining hall was a large room with long metal tables and benches. Pris led Sam to the food line, where they were given plastic trays with food of dubious quality. "Sit here," Pris said, choosing a table in the corner. "You can see the whole dining hall from here." Sam sat down across from her, looking around. The inmates sat in separate groups, and there was tension between them. "See the tall woman with the braid?" Pris pointed to a table in the back. "That's Margaret Stoll. She's the boss here. She killed her husband with an axe. If she notices you, it could be good or bad. There's no in-between." "And that group?" "Drug addicts. They stick together, but they can't be trusted. They'd sell their own mother for a fix." Sam nodded, memorizing the information. She noticed that Pris spoke quietly but confidently, and the other prisoners treated her with respect. "Pris!" a young woman with multiple piercings called out to them. "Is that your new neighbor?" "Yes, Sam, this is Jessie. She's safe." Jessie sat down next to them, studying Sam with interest. "First time?" "Yes. Don't worry, Pris will take care of you. She's like a mother to all the lost sheep here." Jessie winked. "Right, Pris?" Pris shrugged, but Sam noticed a slight blush on her cheeks. "I just don't like it when newbies get picked on." After lunch, Pris showed Sam the library, the gym, and the workshops where the inmates could work. She introduced Sam as her cellmate everywhere she went, which gave the newcomer a certain protection. "You can work in the laundry or the kitchen," Pris explained. "I work in the auto shop. They fix the prison cars. You still like mechanics?" "It's the only thing I'm good at." Pris stopped at a window overlooking the yard. There aren't many opportunities for self-fulfillment here. Sam looked at Pris's profile. In this light, she looked younger, and there was a sadness in her eyes that she carefully hid. "Why are you helping me?" Sam asked. Pris turned to her. "What do you mean?" "You don't know me. I might be a terrible person." "You're not terrible." Pris looked her in the eyes. "You have kind eyes. That's rare around here." Something about the way she said it made Sam's heart beat faster. She had never thought of women that way before, but there was something about Pris's gaze that drew her in. "Time to return to your cells," announced a voice over the loudspeaker. They walked back to their cell, and Sam felt a strange sense of relief at being alone with Pris. In one day, this woman had become her anchor in a strange and frightening world. "Pris," she said as they lay down on their bunks, "thank you for today." "You're welcome." Pris's voice sounded in the darkness. "Sam? Yes? Have you ever been with a woman?" The question hung in the air. Sam felt her cheeks burn in the darkness. "No," she replied honestly. "Have you?" "Only here. Outside, I've only ever been with men." Pris paused. "It's different here. Necessity forces us to seek intimacy where we can find it." Sam lay in the darkness, thinking about Pris's words. Something in her voice made her think that this conversation wasn't accidental. "Good night, Sam." "Good night, Pris." But sleep didn't come easily. Sam lay on the narrow bunk, listening to Pris's breathing below, thinking about how quickly her life had changed. In the morning, she woke up in her own bed, and in the evening, she woke up in a prison cell with a woman who looked at her like no one else ever had. She didn't know what lay ahead, but for some reason, she felt that Pris would play an important role in it. 3 weeks had passed since Sam arrived in Harrison. She quickly got used to the prison routine. Wake up at 6 in the morning, breakfast, work in the laundry, lunch, free time in the yard, dinner, and lights out at 10 in the evening. But the most important thing for her was the time she spent with Pris. Every morning, Pris woke her with a gentle touch on her shoulder. "Wake up, sleeping beauty," she whispered, and in those words was a tenderness that Sam had never heard from a man. This morning was special. When Pris touched her shoulder, Sam didn't pull away, but instead reached for that touch. Their eyes met, and something changed between them. "Good morning," Sam whispered. "Good morning," Pris replied, keeping her hand on her shoulder. They looked at each other in the morning twilight of the cell, and Sam felt her heart beat faster. Pris slowly leaned closer, and Sam didn't pull away. Their lips met in a cautious, tender kiss. When they broke apart, Pris looked at her with concern. "I'm sorry, I shouldn't have." "Don't be sorry," Sam said, touching Pris's cheek. "I wanted this." From that moment on, everything changed between them. They became a couple, although they didn't tell anyone officially. In prison, such relationships were common, but they required caution. In the dining hall, they sat closer to each other, their hands sometimes touching under the table. In the yard, they walked together, talking about their lives before prison, their dreams and plans for the future. "Tell me about your family," Sam asked one evening as they sat on her bunk, leaning against each other. "There's not much to tell," Pris replied, playing with Sam's hair. "My father left when I was 10. My mother drank. Uncle Bill gave me a job at a car repair shop when I turned 18. He was the only one who believed in me. And now? Now he's dead. Heart attack last year. They wouldn't even let me go to the funeral." Pris's voice grew harder. "I have no one left out there." Sam hugged her tighter. "You have me." Pris turned to her, and there was such gratitude in her eyes that Sam's breath caught. "Really? Really?" They kissed again, this time more passionately. Sam never thought she could feel this way about a woman, but with Pris, it felt natural and right. Their relationship didn't go unnoticed. Jessie was the first to bring it up. "You two are cute," she said one day in the library, where the three of them were sitting at a table pretending to read. "How long has this been going on?" Sam blushed, but Pris replied calmly, "A week. Be careful. Officer Harris notices everything, and Margaret doesn't like it when people are too happy." "What do you mean?" Sam asked. Margaret thinks that if you're here, you have to suffer. Happy couples annoy her. Jesse looked at them seriously. She might try to break you up. Let her try, Pris said, her voice threatening. Sam put her hand on Pris's. We'll be careful. But it was hard to be careful when her feelings were so strong. Sam found herself thinking about Pris constantly. While she was working in the laundry, while she was eating, even while she was sleeping. Pris had become the center of her world. Pris had changed too. The wariness in her eyes had been replaced by tenderness when she looked at Sam. She had become even more fiercely protective of her. When one of the inmates from the drug addicts group tried to get Sam to pass her some contraband, Pris intervened so quickly and decisively that the woman never came near Sam again. You shouldn't have gotten into a fight for me, Sam said that night, examining the abrasions on Pris's knuckles. No one touches you, Pris replied, and there was such intensity in her voice that Sam felt both warm and slightly uneasy. Their physical intimacy deepened gradually. At first it was kisses and hugs, then cautious caresses in the darkness of their cell. Sam discovered desires she never knew she had. Are you sure? Pris whispered one night as their caresses became more intimate. Yes, Sam replied, and it was true. With Pris, she felt safe, desired, loved. Their first night together was tender and passionate at the same time. Pris was cautious, attentive to Sam's every reaction. Afterwards, lying in each other's arms on the narrow bunk, they whispered in the darkness. I never thought I could feel happy here, Sam confessed. Me neither, Pris replied, kissing her on the temple. You've changed everything. From that moment on, they became inseparable. The other inmates got used to seeing them together and treated their relationship with respect. There were many couples in prison, and theirs seemed to be one of the strongest. Officer Harris had noticed their closeness, but she didn't interfere. One day, she stopped Sam in the hallway. Reeves, you're adapting better than most of the newbies. Thank you, ma'am. Clark is taking good care of you. But remember, this is temporary. Don't get too attached. Sam didn't understand what Officer Harris meant at the time. She was too happy to think about warnings. Dr. Regina Cole also noticed changes in both women during their mandatory weekly sessions. You look better, Samantha, she said during one of the meetings. You're adapting well to prison life. Yes, doctor. I have good support. Priscilla? Sam nodded. She means a lot to you. Yes. Dr. Cole wrote something down in her notebook. Remember that healthy relationships are based on mutual respect and independence. If you ever feel like the relationship is becoming too intense or controlling, come see me. I'm fine, doctor. Priscilla takes good care of me. I know, just remember what I said. But Sam didn't think about the warnings. She was in love, perhaps for the first time in her life. Pris was strong, protective, and loved her in a way that made her feel special. Pris seemed happy too. She smiled more, laughed at Sam's jokes, shared stories from her past. But sometimes Sam noticed something dark and intense in her eyes that made her feel uncomfortable. For example, when Sam talked to other inmates, Pris watched from a distance with an expression that was difficult to interpret. Or when Sam received a letter from her sister, Pris asked what it said and seemed upset when Sam said it was private. I thought we didn't have any secrets from each other, Pris said that evening. We don't. There's just nothing interesting to tell. My sister writes about work and her kids. Do you miss her? Of course. She's my family. Something in Pris's eyes changed. What am I to you? You're the most important person in my life right now. Right now? Sam realized she had said the wrong thing. Pris, you know what I mean. Here, in this place, you're everything to me. Pris hugged her, but the embrace was too tight, almost painful. Okay, because you're everything to me too. That night, as they lay together, Sam thought about Pris's words. There was an intensity to them that both frightened and excited her. She loved feeling important to someone, but something in Pris's tone made her uneasy. But those thoughts quickly faded when Pris kissed her, when they made love, when they woke up in each other's arms in the morning. Sam had never been so happy, and she didn't want anything to disrupt that happiness. She didn't know that Pris was watching her every move, memorizing every word, every glance. She didn't know that an obsessive idea was forming in Pris's mind that Sam belonged only to her. For now, their honeymoon continued, and Sam was too in love to notice the first warning signs. The changes began gradually, so subtly that Sam didn't notice them right away. At first, they were small things. Priscilla asked more questions about who Sam talked to at work, what she discussed with Dr. Cole during her sessions, what she was thinking about when she seemed pensive. "You talked to Michelle for a long time in the laundry room today," Priscilla said one evening as they lay on their bunks after lights out. "Michelle? We were talking about work. She was explaining the new procedure for washing the staff uniforms. She's pretty." Sam turned to Priscilla, surprised by the tone of her voice. "What? Michelle. She's a pretty girl, and she was looking at you in a special way." "Priscilla, are you serious? We just work together." "I know how women look at each other, Sam. I've seen that look." Sam sat up on her bunk, feeling the first signs of irritation. "Even if that's true, so what? I'm with you." "Are you sure?" "Of course. What are you talking about?" Pris hugged her, pulling her close. "I'm sorry. I don't want to lose you. You're the only good thing I have." Sam melted at these words. She understood that Pris had been hurt by life, that she was afraid of being alone. "You won't lose me." But conversations like this began to happen more and more often. Pris began to question Sam about every person she talked to, analyzing every glance, every word. A week later, the situation escalated. In the library, Sam was approached by Carla Morris, an inmate from the neighboring block who worked in the sewing workshop. "Sam, hi. I hear you're good with electronics?" "A little. Why?" "My radio is broken. Could you take a look at it? I'll pay you with cigarettes." Sam looked back and saw Pris watching them from the other end of the library. Her face was stone. "Sure, I can take a look, but I need to ask someone." "Ask who?" Pris's voice came from right behind Sam. Carla turned around. "Oh, hi, Pris. I asked Sam to help me with the radio." "Sam doesn't fix other people's stuff," Pris said flatly. "Pris," Sam started, but Pris cut her off with a look. "She doesn't have time for this." Carla looked at Sam, then at Pris, and realized something. "Fine. I'll take care of it myself." When Carla left, Sam turned to Pris. "What was that?" "What was what?" "Why did you tell her I wouldn't fix the radio? It would have been easy work for good pay. You don't need cigarettes. I can get you anything you need." "It's not about cigarettes, Priscilla. It's about you speaking for me without asking my opinion." Priscilla sat down next to her and took her hand. "I'm sorry. I just don't want you getting involved with Carla. She has a bad reputation." "What kind of reputation?" "She uses people. She makes them do her work and then dumps them." Sam studied Pris's face, trying to figure out if she was telling the truth. "How do you know that?" "I've been here for 3 years, Sam. I know everyone." The incident made Sam think. She began to notice how Pris controlled her interactions with others. When they sat in the dining hall, Pris chose seats so that Sam's back was to most of the tables. When they walked in the courtyard, Pris held her hand tighter when other women were nearby. Dr. Regina Cole noticed a change in Sam's behavior during their next session. "You seem tense today, Samantha." "Everything's fine, doctor." "How are things with Priscilla?" Sam hesitated before answering. "Fine. Just fine? You used to light up when you talked about her. We're going through some difficulties." Dr. Cole leaned forward. "What kind of difficulties?" "She can be jealous sometimes. But that's normal, right? We live in such a stressful place. Jealousy is a normal emotion, but it's important how it manifests itself. Does she try to control your interactions with others?" Sam felt uncomfortable. "A little, but she just cares about me. Samantha, I want you to remember something. Love shouldn't feel like a cage. If you start to feel like you can't breathe freely, that's a problem." "I can breathe freely." "Good, but if that changes, come see me." That night, Sam lay in her bunk thinking about Dr. Cole's words. She loved Pris, but she was starting to feel pressured. Every day, Pris asked more questions and demanded more attention. "What are you thinking about?" Pris asked from the darkness. "Nothing in particular." "Are you thinking about me?" "Sometimes." "What else are you thinking about?" Sam sighed. "Different things, Pris. Family, life before prison, the future." "Life after prison?" "Yes." Are you thinking about life without me? There was such pain in Pris's voice that Sam's heart ached. No, not without you. But you're thinking about life on the outside. Of course I am, aren't you? Pris was silent for a long time. All I think about is you. Those words should have sounded romantic, but for some reason they frightened Sam. There was such intensity, such need in them that it was hard to breathe. The situation worsened the following week when Sam received a letter from her sister Linda. The letter contained a photograph of Linda with her husband and children at a picnic. "What a beautiful family," said Pris, reading the letter over Sam's shoulder. "Pris, this is private. We're a couple. Couples shouldn't have secrets." "It's not a secret. It's just a letter from my sister." "Is she coming to visit you?" "Maybe. She's thinking about it." Pris's face darkened. "Do you want her to come?" "Of course I do. She's my sister." "What are you going to tell her about me?" Sam looked at Pris in surprise. "What am I going to tell her?" "Are you going to tell her about us? That we're together?" "I don't know. Maybe." "Maybe?" Pris's voice grew cold. "Are you ashamed of me?" "No, of course not. It's just a complicated thing to explain." "What's complicated about it? We love each other." "Yes, but what, Sam?" Sam realized she was trapped. Any answer would anger Pris. "Nothing, you're right. If she comes, I'll tell her about us." But that wasn't enough. Over the next few days, Pris became even more possessive. She wouldn't let go of Sam's hand in the dining room, followed her with her eyes across the yard, asked endless questions about what was going on in the laundry room. "Pris, I need some space," Sam said one evening when she had had enough. "Space? What do you mean?" "I mean that sometimes I need to be alone, talk to other people, do things on my own." Pris's face turned to stone. "You want to be with someone else?" "No, I want to be with you, but I also want to have my own life." "What life?" "We're in prison, Sam. We only have each other. We have other inmates, work, programs. I don't need any of that. I just need you." The intensity in Pris's voice frightened Sam. "Pris, this isn't healthy." "What isn't healthy?" "What you're saying. People can't be everything to each other. It's too much pressure." Pris's eyes filled with tears. "You don't love me anymore." "I love you. But love doesn't mean we have to lose ourselves in each other." "It does to me." Sam felt a chill in her stomach. She was beginning to realize that their perceptions of love were radically different. The next day, the situation reached a critical point. During lunch, Jessie approached Sam. "Hi, can I sit down?" Sam looked at Pris, who nodded, but her lips were pressed into a thin line. "I have a suggestion," Jessie said. "Would you like to join our book club? We meet once a week to discuss books." "That sounds great," Sam replied, feeling the first genuine excitement she had felt in days. "Sam doesn't have time for book clubs," Prissy interjected. "Why not?" Jessie asked, looking at Pris in surprise. "She has other commitments." "What commitments?" Jessie looked at Sam. "You don't do anything in the evenings." Sam felt all eyes on her. "I need to think about it." "Think about what?" Jessie asked. "It's just a book club." "Sam said she'd think about it," Pris said sharply. Jessie looked at Pris, then at Sam, and understanding dawned in her eyes. "Okay, let us know if you change your mind." When Jessie left, Pris turned to Sam. "Do you really want to waste your time on that nonsense?" "It's not nonsense. It's a chance to meet other people and discuss interesting topics. You have me to talk to." "Pris, I want to go to this group." "No." "What do you mean?" "No. I mean I don't want you to go." Sam felt anger rising inside her. "You can't tell me what to do." "I can if you're my girlfriend." "Being your girlfriend doesn't mean I'm your property." Pris's eyes turned cold. "So you're not my girlfriend?" "I'm your girlfriend, but I'm also my own person." "You can't be both." Those words sounded like a sentence. Sam realized she was at a crossroads. She could give in and lose what little independence she had left, or she could stand her ground and risk the relationship. "I'm going to the book club," she said quietly but firmly. Pris's face became a mask. Fine. But Sam knew it was far from fine. The rest of the day, Pris didn't speak to her, and at night she turned away from her, refusing to let her hug her. Sam lay in the dark, feeling her world crumble. She loved Pris, but she was beginning to realize that Pris's love was suffocating, possessive, unhealthy. She didn't know that in the bunk next to her, Pris lay awake, planning how to regain control of the situation. An idea began to form in Pris's mind that if she couldn't make Sam stay voluntarily, she might have to use other methods. The cracks in their relationship had become too deep to ignore, and Sam was beginning to realize that her love story was turning into a nightmare. Monday morning began with silence. Pris got out of bed without waking Sam, got dressed, and left for breakfast without saying a word. When Sam woke up, the room was empty, and the coldness of Pris's absence was palpable. In the 3 days since their argument over the book club, Pris hadn't said a word. She slept with her back to the wall, ate at a different table in the dining room, and kept her distance in the yard. But Sam could feel her gaze on her constantly, heavy, full of pain and anger. The other inmates noticed the change. Jessie approached Sam in the library during the first book club meeting. "What's going on between you and Pris?" she asked quietly. "We're going through a rough patch," Sam replied, trying to focus on the discussion of the novel they were reading. "She looks like she's ready to kill someone." Jessie's words made Sam shudder. "She's just upset." "Sam, I've known Pris for 2 years. I've never seen her like this. Maybe you should talk to her?" "I tried. She doesn't want to talk." But the truth was more complicated than that. Sam hadn't really tried. Part of her enjoyed the freedom Pris's silence gave her. She could talk to whomever she wanted, sit where she wanted, think about whatever she wanted without being interrogated. For the first time in months, she felt like she could breathe. During her session with Dr. Cole the next day, Sam was more open. "You look better," the doctor remarked. "What's changed?" "Pris and I aren't talking right now." "What happened?" Sam told her about the argument over the book club, about Pris's demands, about how she tried to control every aspect of her life. Dr. Cole listened intently, taking notes. "How do you feel now?" "Relieved and guilty at the same time." "Guilty for what?" "For feeling relieved. I should miss her, but instead I feel free." "Samantha, that's a normal reaction. What you're describing are signs of emotional abuse. Control, isolation, possessiveness, these are all red flags. But she loves me. Love and possessiveness are two different things. Love gives freedom, it doesn't take it away." Sam was silent, thinking about the doctor's words. "What are you planning to do?" Dr. Cole asked. "I think I want to end our relationship." Saying those words out loud, Sam felt both horror and relief. She had finally admitted what she had known deep down for several days. "That's a brave decision. How do you plan to do it?" "I'll talk to her tonight." "Be careful, Samantha. People with such tendencies don't always react well to breakups. If you feel threatened, contact the staff immediately." All day long, Sam rehearsed the conversation with Pris in her head. She wanted to be honest but gentle, to explain that their relationship had become unhealthy, that they both needed space to grow. That evening, after dinner, when they returned to their cell, Sam gathered her courage. "Pris, we need to talk." Pris was sitting on her bunk reading a book. She looked up, the first time in 3 days she had looked directly at Sam. "About what?" "About us. About what's going on." Pris closed her book and set it aside. "I'm listening." Sam sat down on the edge of her bunk, facing Pris. "I think we need to take a break." "A break?" "Yes. Our relationship has become too intense, too heavy. I think we both need time to think about what we really want." Pris's face didn't change. "I know what I want. I want you. But not like this, Pris. Not in a way where you try to control every minute of my life." "I'm not controlling, I'm caring." "No, Pris. Caring is when you want someone to be happy, even if that means they do things without you. What you're doing is controlling." Pris got up from the cot and moved closer. "Are you talking to someone about this? Dr. Cole?" "It doesn't matter." "It does matter. She's turning you against me, isn't she? Telling you I'm bad for you?" "No one is turning me against you, Pris. I think for myself, I feel for myself. You felt differently a month ago. A month ago, you were different. I haven't changed. You have. You've become jealous, suspicious, controlling. You're trying to isolate me from everyone else. Pris sat down next to Sam on the cot and took her hands. Because I love you. Because I can't lose you. But you're losing me because of that. No! Pris's voice grew firmer. No, I'm not losing you. Pris, please try to understand. You can't leave me. I'm not leaving you. I'm just saying we need time. No! Pris stood up abruptly, her voice rising. You can't! You're all I have. You have your own life, Pris. You have a job, friends. I don't need any of that. All I need is you. Sam stood up too, feeling a panic rising inside her. This isn't healthy, Priscilla. One person can't be another person's entire life. Yes, I can. You're my life, Sam. Without you, I have nothing. That's not my responsibility. Responsibility? Are you talking about love as a responsibility? I'm saying that love shouldn't feel like a prison within a prison. The words hung in the air. Pris stood motionless, her face pale. Prison, she repeated quietly. Pris, that's not what I meant. Yes, that's exactly what you meant. Pris's voice became strangely calm. I'm a prison to you, not you. Our relationship has become, so you want to get rid of me. I want us both to be happy. I'm only happy with you, and I'm unhappy in this relationship. Pris looked at her for a long time, her eyes empty. So it's over. Pris, it's over, Pris repeated more quietly. Sam felt relieved. Maybe it would be easier than she thought. We can still be friends. Friends, Pris said the word as if it were poison. Yes, we're cellmates. We have to get along somehow. Cellmates. Something in Pris's tone made Sam wary. Pris, are you okay? I'm fine. Pris sat down on her bunk and picked up her book. Everything's great. The next 2 days passed in a tense world. Pris was polite but distant. She spoke to Sam only when necessary, regarding the cell or the schedule. Sam felt relieved, but also strangely uneasy. Something about Pris's behavior seemed wrong. Too calm, too controlled. On Wednesday evening, when Sam returned from her book club meeting, Pris was sitting on her bunk staring at the wall. How was the meeting? She asked without turning around. Fine. We discussed. Sam paused. Something in Pris's voice made her prick up her ears. Discussed what? The book. We discussed the book. What book? Pride and Prejudice. Pris turned to her. Her eyes were strange, empty, yet filled with a cold intensity. About love? Partly, yes. Did you tell them about us? What? No, of course not. Did you tell them how you broke my heart? Sam felt a chill in her stomach. Pris, we agreed not to talk about that. We didn't agree to anything. You just said it was over. You agreed. I didn't say anything. Pris got up from the cot. You decided for both of us. Pris, please. You know what I've realized these past 2 days? Sam shook her head, feeling panic rising. I realized that I can't live without you. I literally can't. Pris, you can. You're strong. No, I can't. And you know what else? I won't let you go to someone else. I'm not going to anyone. I just want to be alone. You're lying. Pris moved closer. You're already looking around. At Jessie. At the girls in the book club. That's not true. Do you think I'm blind? I see how you look at them, how you smile. I smile because for the first time in months I feel free. The words came out before Sam could stop them. Pris's face turned to stone. Free. Pris, that's not what I meant. Yes, that's exactly what you meant. Pris moved closer. You feel free without me. Please don't make this into something terrible. What is it if not terrible? 3 months ago you said you loved me, that I was the most important person in your life. You were. But then everything changed. Nothing has changed. I'm the same. You've changed. Yes, I've changed, because I realized I don't want to live in a cage. A cage? Yes, a cage. You turned our love into a cage. Pris stopped a few inches from Sam. Her breathing was heavy. Her eyes were shining. If I'm a cage, she said quietly, then you're better off in a cage. What do you mean? Pris didn't answer. Instead, she suddenly grabbed Sam by the shoulders. You're not leaving me. Pris, you're hurting me. You're hurting me. Let me go. No, Sam tried to break free, but Pris's fingers dug into her shoulders. "Pris, stop! You're staying with me! No! Yes!" Sam tried to push Pris away, but she was stronger. Years of working as a mechanic had given her muscles that Sam didn't have. "If you can't love me," Pris whispered, her face contorted with pain and rage, "you won't love anyone." "What are you talking about?" Instead of answering, Pris's hands moved to Sam's throat. "Pris, no!" But it was too late. Pris's fingers tightened around Sam's throat, cutting off her air supply. Sam tried to scream, but only a hoarse sound came out. "I can't live without you," Pris whispered, tears streaming down her cheeks. "And you won't live without me." Sam scratched Pris's hands, trying to break free, but her strength was fading. The room began to darken at the edges. "I'm sorry," Pris whispered. "I'm sorry, but I can't let you go." The last thing Sam saw were Pris's eyes, filled with tears, pain, and the mad love that was killing the thing she loved most. When it was over, Pris gently laid Sam's body on the cot, smoothed her hair, and kissed her forehead. "Now you'll stay with me forever," she whispered. She sat down on the floor next to the cot and waited for morning when the guards would find them. Officer Linda Harris discovered the body during her morning rounds at 6:30. At first, she thought Samantha was just sleeping soundly, but then she noticed the unnatural position and the bluish tint to her skin. "Code Blue, Block C, Cell 47, she said into her radio, checking Sam's pulse and looking around for Priscilla. Priscilla was found in the shower, sitting under the cold water, still in her prison uniform. She didn't resist when they took her away. The prison was locked down. A murder investigation was underway. Detective Michael Torres arrived at Harrison County Correctional Facility at 8 a.m., an hour and a half after the body was discovered. In his 18 years on the force, he had investigated many murders, but prison murders were always particularly challenging. A closed environment, a limited circle of suspects, but also many hidden motives and unwritten rules. Prison warden Robert Stanford met him at the entrance. "Detective Torres, I'm Stanford. Thanks for coming so quickly. Tell me what happened." They walked down the corridors while Stanford laid out the facts. The victim is Samantha Reeves, 28, serving 5 years for drug trafficking. She's been here for 3.5 months. Her cellmate is Priscilla Clark, 35, serving her 3rd year of an 8-year sentence for burglary. Any previous incidents between them? No official complaints, but the staff knew they had a close relationship. Torres nodded. Romantic relationships between inmates were common in prisons, especially in women's prisons. The crime scene was cordoned off. The cell was tiny, 3 by 4 meters with 2 bunks, a table, a sink, and a toilet. Samantha's body was still lying on the top bunk in the position in which it had been found. The medical examiner had already finished his preliminary examination. "Death was caused by strangulation," he reported to Torres. "Judging by the marks on the neck, the killer used his hands. Time of death was between 10 p.m. and midnight." Torres looked around the cell. There were no signs of a struggle, nothing broken or scattered. Either the attack was sudden, or the victim knew the attacker and did not expect a threat. "Where is Priscilla Clark now?" "In solitary confinement. She hasn't said a word since she was arrested. I want to talk to her, but first I need to interview the witnesses." The first was Officer Linda Harris, who discovered the body. "I was doing my morning rounds at 6:30, she said in the warden's office. "I looked into the cell and at first thought Reeves was asleep, but something seemed wrong. I got closer and realized she was dead." "Where was Clark?" "I don't know. She wasn't in the cell. We found her in the shower about 10 minutes later." "What condition was she in?" "Strange. She was sitting in the shower fully clothed, staring at the wall. She didn't respond to commands at first." "How long had you been observing their relationship?" Harris hesitated. "Several months. They became a couple shortly after Reeves arrived. At first, everything seemed normal, but in recent weeks, I've noticed tension." "What kind of tension?" "Clark became more possessive. She watched Reeves' every move and wouldn't let her out of her sight. Reeves started to look unhappy. Were there any complaints?" "None officially, but Dr. Cole mentioned problems in their relationship." Next was Dr. Regina Cole. She looked shaken and blamed herself. "I saw the signs," she said, clenching her hands. Samantha told me about Priscilla's controlling behavior. I warned her about the dangers of such a relationship. What exactly did she tell you? Priscilla became extremely jealous and possessive. She tried to isolate Samantha from other inmates and controlled every aspect of her life. Samantha felt suffocated. Was she planning to end the relationship? Yes. At her last session, she said she wanted to do that. I warned her to be careful, that people with those tendencies don't respond well to rejection. Dr. Cole fell silent, tears welling up in her eyes. I should have done more. I should have intervened officially. You couldn't have known it would end in murder. I could have. All the signs were there. Torres questioned several other inmates. Jessie was particularly helpful. Pris had been on edge for the last few weeks, she said. She wouldn't let Sam out of her sight, and Sam started coming to the book club, and Priscilla didn't like that. How did she not like it? She looked at us like she wanted to kill us, literally, and she looked at Sam like she had betrayed her. Did Sam talk about her plans? She said she wanted to break up. She said Priscilla had become too controlling. We all told her to be careful. Why? Because Priscilla was obsessed with her. I've never seen anything like it. She looked at Sam like she was her property. Other inmates confirmed this picture. Everyone said that the relationship between Priscilla and Samantha had become toxic, that Priscilla was obsessed with control, and that Samantha was trying to break free. After 3 hours of questioning, Torres was ready to talk to the suspect. Priscilla sat on a metal bench in the isolation cell, staring at the floor. She didn't look up when he entered. Priscilla, I'm Detective Torres. I'm investigating the death of Samantha Reeves. No response. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can be used against you in court. You have the right to an attorney. Torres read her all her rights, but Priscilla did not respond. Priscilla, I know you can hear me. Do you want to tell me what happened last night? A long silence. Then, barely audible, she wanted to leave me. Samantha? Priscilla nodded, not looking up. Tell me about it. She said our relationship had become unhealthy, that she needed space. Priscilla's voice was monotonous, as if she were reading from a script. But I couldn't let her go. Why? Because without her, I have nothing. No one. She was everything. What happened on Wednesday night? Priscilla finally looked up. Her eyes were red from crying, empty. She came back from her book club. She was laughing. She talked about how much fun she had, and I realized I was losing her for good. And what did you do? I tried to stop her. I told her I wouldn't let her go, that she couldn't leave me. And then she yelled at me. She said I had turned our love into a cage, that she felt free without me. Priscilla fell silent, tears streaming down her cheeks. What happened next, Priscilla? I don't remember clearly. I was so angry, so scared. She tried to leave, and I grabbed her. We struggled, and then my hands were around her neck. Did you intentionally strangle her? I don't know, I just couldn't let her go. I thought if she couldn't be with me, she wouldn't be with anyone else. Did you realize you were killing her? Priscilla was silent for a long time. I did, and I couldn't stop. Torres wrote down every word. It was a confession to first-degree murder. What did you do after that? I laid her on the bed. I fixed her hair. I kissed her. I told her she would be with me forever. And then you went to the shower? Yes. I felt dirty. I wanted to wash away what I had done, but the water didn't help. Priscilla fell silent again, then added quietly, I loved her more than life itself, and I killed her because of that love. The investigation was closed a week later. Priscilla Clark was charged with first-degree murder. She did not hire a lawyer and did not contest the charges. At the trial 3 months later, she repeated her confession. The judge sentenced her to life in prison without the possibility of parole. This was a crime of passion, said the judge, but also a crime of control and obsession. The defendant took the life of a young woman who simply wanted freedom. Dr. Cole gave expert testimony on Priscilla's psychological state. The defendant exhibits signs of obsessive-compulsive personality disorder with elements of borderline personality disorder, she told the court. She was unable to accept rejection and perceived her partner's attempts to gain independence as an existential threat. Samantha's family was present at the trial. Her sister Linda gave an emotional statement. "Sam was a kind, loving person," she said through tears. "She made mistakes, but she didn't deserve to die. No one deserves to die for wanting to be free." Priscilla listened silently, without emotion. When she was given the opportunity to speak, she stood up and said only, "I apologize to Samantha's family. I know I don't deserve forgiveness, but I am truly sorry. I loved her, but my love was sick. I understand now that I killed what I loved most in the world." After the trial, Priscilla was transferred to a maximum security prison in another state. According to reports, she does not interact with other inmates, spends her time alone, and reads books on psychology. Dr. Cole took a 6-month leave of absence after the tragedy, but then returned to work. She founded a program to prevent domestic violence in prisons, and now trains staff to recognize the signs of toxic relationships among inmates. "Samantha did not die in vain if we can prevent similar tragedies in the future," she says. Officer Harris also took additional training and now pays closer attention to relationships among inmates. "We always knew that romantic relationships happened," she says, "but we didn't pay enough attention to when they became dangerous." Jesse and other inmates who were friends with Samantha have formed an informal support group for women in difficult relationships. "Sam just wanted to be free," Jesse says. "We want to make sure other women know they have a right to freedom, even here." Detective Torres closed the case, but it stayed with him. In his report, he wrote, "This murder was the result of a toxic dynamic that had been developing for months. The victim was trying to free herself from a controlling relationship, but the perpetrator was unable to accept the loss of control. The tragedy could have been prevented with earlier intervention, but the system was not equipped to recognize the signs of escalating violence in a romantic relationship between inmates." The Harrison County prison system implemented new protocols after this incident. Staff now receive training on recognizing signs of domestic violence, and inmates receive information about healthy relationships. But for Samantha Reeves, these changes came too late. She was buried in her hometown cemetery, next to her parents' grave. The words, "beloved sister and daughter, she just wanted to be free," are engraved on her headstone. Priscilla's family, the uncle who gave her a job as a mechanic, died before she was killed, and she had no other close relatives. No one visits her in prison. She spends her days alone, reading and thinking about how love can turn into obsession, and obsession into tragedy. In a letter she wrote to Dr. Cole a year after her sentencing, but never sent, Priscilla wrote, "I thought love meant possession, that if I loved someone enough, they would belong only to me. I didn't understand that true love gives freedom, not takes it away. I killed the only person I ever loved because I didn't know how to love properly. Now I have a lifetime to regret it." The story of Samantha Reeves and Priscilla Clark is a warning about how quickly love can turn into obsession, and obsession into tragedy. It shows that even in the closed environment of prison, people seek connection and intimacy, but that these connections can become dangerous without a proper understanding of healthy relationships. Samantha wanted only freedom, the right to choose who to be friends with, what to do, how to live, even within the confines of prison. Priscilla wanted only love, but her understanding of love was distorted by fear of loss and a need for control. As a result, one woman is dead, another will spend the rest of her life in prison, and the system that was supposed to protect them has been forced to acknowledge its shortcomings. But if their tragedy helped prevent other similar cases, if it made people better understand the difference between love and obsession, between care and control, then perhaps Samantha's death was not entirely in vain.